This book will fix your money mindset. The Psychology of Money Explained. Part 1. Why most people think about money all wrong. When it comes to money, people don't behave like calculators. They behave like humans, emotional, impulsive, scared, hopeful, inconsistent. That's the core message of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's not a book about stock picks, investing strategies, or budgeting hacks. It's a book about how we think, and more often, how we misthink about money. Because money isn't just math. It's psychology. It's shaped by your upbringing, your trauma, your culture, your sense of security, your self-worth. And no amount of spreadsheets can fix what your beliefs are messing up. In this video, we'll break down the key lessons from the psychology of money, not just to understand how money works, but to understand how you work around money. If you've ever made a financial decision you later regretted, felt anxious about saving or spending, compared your income to someone else's and felt worse, struggled to stick to a budget even when you know better, this video is for you. We'll explore why the most rational person isn't always the wealthiest, how our experiences shape our money behavior, why patience beats intelligence in the long game, and how to build wealth with a mindset that actually works. It's time to stop blaming yourself for not being smart with money. The truth is, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to understand your psychology and shape it with intention. Let's begin. Part 2. What wealth really means and why you might be missing it. Most people think wealth is what you see. Big houses, luxury cars, designer clothes, impressive vacations. But Morgan Housel flips that idea upside down. Wealth is what you don't see. The psychology of money. Let that sink in. The expensive lifestyle you admire. That's spending. Wealth, on the other hand, is invisible. It's the money someone didn't spend. It's the freedom someone kept in their back pocket instead of trading it for status. Why this matters? In a world obsessed with appearances, it's easy to confuse being rich with being wealthy. Being rich means you earn a lot and spend a lot. Being wealthy means you keep a lot and value independence. You can earn 6 figures and still be broke. You can drive a Toyota, live in a modest home, and be a millionaire. Housel tells the story of a tech worker in Silicon Valley. He lived in a small house, didn't flash his wealth, and retired comfortably in his 30s. No one envied him because no one noticed him. But he had what most people are chasing: freedom. Why we spend so much. Most people don't spend money for utility. They spend to signal something. Look, I'm successful. Look, I'm smart. Look, I belong. The car isn't just a car, it's an identity broadcast. The clothes aren't just clothes, they're a performance. But here's the irony. When you see someone driving a nice car, you don't admire them. You imagine yourself driving it. That means the admiration you're chasing. It doesn't even land. People don't think, wow, that person's amazing. They think, I want that life. So what is real wealth? According to Housel, real wealth is not having to wake up to an alarm. Doing work because you want to, not because you have to. Being able to say no. Having time to think. Having control over your day. Living with less fear of the future. It's not sexy, it doesn't look cool, but it's powerful. And here's the big takeaway from this chapter. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. If you want wealth, stop chasing status. Start chasing freedom. Because money isn't just for buying things. It's for buying time, space, options, peace of mind. That's real wealth. Part 3. Why you can't just be rational with money. Money should be the most rational thing in the world. It's numbers, logic, probability, charts, right. Then why do smart people make terrible financial decisions? Why do people go into debt to buy things they don't need? Why do investors sell during crashes and buy during bubbles? Why do some lottery winners end up broke, while some janitors die millionaires? Because when it comes to money, people don't act based on logic. They act based on experience, emotion, fear, and memory. And this is Morgan Housel's central argument. People do crazy things with money, not because they're stupid, but because they're human. Your financial behavior is deeply personal. Here's a powerful insight from the book. Your personal experiences with money make up maybe 0.000000001% of what's happened in financial history. But they make up 80% of how you think about money. Think about that. If you grew up during a financial crisis, you might be extremely risk-averse. If your parents lost their savings, you might hoard cash. If you watched a friend get rich from crypto, you might chase the next hype. If you've only known abundance, you might take big risks without realizing it. Your mindset around money isn't built in a spreadsheet. It's built in your life story. The myth of the rational investor. Finance textbooks talk about the rational investor. Someone who analyzes data, understands risk, and makes objective decisions. That person doesn't exist. Real people panic when markets fall, get greedy when others succeed, fear missing out, overestimate short-term gains, underestimate long-term growth. This isn't stupidity, it's psychology. And once you understand that, you stop blaming yourself for past mistakes. You realize, I'm not broken. I'm just wired to react emotionally to uncertainty. The solution isn't more intelligence, it's better awareness. You don't need a PhD to handle your finances well. You need self-awareness. Housel emphasizes, doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. That's liberating, because it means you don't have to outsmart the system. You just have to build habits and beliefs that protect you from your own worst impulses. Like saving even when it's not fun, avoiding things you don't understand, planning for things going wrong, being okay with not getting rich quick, respecting luck and uncertainty. You're not just managing money, you're managing emotion. Let's say you invest in the market. A crash happens, your instinct says, get out, protect what I have. But that instinct often leads to the worst possible move. Selling low and locking in your loss. This isn't a math problem, it's an emotion problem. And managing money well means managing the urge to act emotionally in the short term. It means building systems that save you from yourself. Like automating your savings, having rules in advance, I never sell in a panic. Reminding yourself, this too shall pass. When you accept that you'll never be perfectly rational, you can create a financial plan that doesn't require perfection. You build flexibility, forgiveness, margin for error. Because the goal isn't to win at money. It's to stay in the game long enough to win over time. Part 4. Why patience is more powerful than intelligence. In a world that celebrates speed, the psychology of money makes a daring claim. The most powerful force in investing isn't intelligence, it's time. That's right, time, not talent. Not IQ, not advanced strategy, just staying in the game. And this is where most people go wrong. They chase fast results, flashy returns, and viral money tricks, while overlooking the quiet magic of patience. Compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. You've probably heard about compounding, but most people still underestimate how long-term discipline beats short-term brilliance. Morgan Housel offers the perfect example. Warren Buffett made over 95% of his wealth after his 65th birthday. How? Not because of a secret formula, but because he started investing at age 10 and never stopped. That's it. His real advantage. Time in the market, not market timing. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a time problem. We live in an age of urgency. Get rich quick. Achieve early retirement in your 20s. 10x your income in a month. Buy low, sell high today. But wealth doesn't grow like a firework. It grows like a tree. And trees take time. If you plant one today and dig it up tomorrow to check the roots, you've missed the point. Same with money. The power of being boring. Some of the best financial strategies are incredibly dull. Save consistently. Invest in broad index funds. Stay invested through ups and downs. Avoid chasing hype. Reinvest your gains. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. But it works. And more importantly, it's sustainable. Morgan Housel reminds us. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two different skills. Getting wealthy might involve risk, but staying wealthy involves discipline and patience. The real goal, freedom over fortune. People want to get rich fast because they think money will solve their problems. But the psychology of money argues. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. Not Lamborghini money. Freedom money. And freedom money grows slowly. You can build it by saying no to lifestyle inflation, avoiding financial comparison, saving more than you spend, letting your money rest and grow for years, resisting the urge to do something. When the market crashes, people panic. When it spikes, people get greedy. But Housel teaches a strange kind of wisdom. The ability to do nothing is a superpower. Not because you're lazy, but because you trust the process. You know that wealth isn't built in days. It's built in decades. You become someone who plants financial seeds and lets them grow. In the next part, we'll explore the silent destroyer of wealth, ego. How the desire to impress others keeps you poor, and how humility is one of the smartest financial strategies you can adopt. Part 5. Ego is the enemy. Why trying to impress others keeps you broke. One of the most underrated themes in the psychology of money is this. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. Behind so many bad financial decisions, you'll find a familiar villain, ego. Ego wants to be seen. Ego wants approval. Ego wants applause. And ego is expensive. Because trying to impress others is like pouring water into a bucket with a hole. You keep pouring, but it's never full. What is ego spending? Ego spending is buying things not because you need them, or even enjoy them, but because you want someone else to notice. The car that stretches your budget. The apartment that looks better on Instagram. The gadgets, the clothes, the lifestyle, all for the performance. But here's the hard truth. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. You imagine that people admire your choices, but they're too busy worrying about their own. And even if they do notice, what happens? They scroll past. They forget. They move on. Meanwhile, you're left with the bill. Wealth versus status. Morgan Housel draws a sharp line between two things. Wealth is what you have. Status is what you show. Wealth is quiet. It sits in savings accounts, investment portfolios, paid off debts, and unspent paychecks. Status is loud. It drives past you on the highway, blaring music from a car that may be leased. And here's the kicker. People want to be rich to feel admired. But the irony is that once you start spending to appear rich, you're no longer building real wealth. You're just trading freedom for attention. The cost of impressing strangers. Let's say you upgrade your lifestyle to impress coworkers, neighbors, or social media followers. What do you gain? Maybe a few compliments. Maybe some envy. Maybe a moment of superiority. But what do you lose? Savings. Peace of mind. Flexibility. The ability to say no to things that don't serve you. It's a bad trade. Because attention fades. But debt lingers. The power of financial humility. Being humble with money doesn't mean being cheap. It means being free from the need to prove anything. It means driving a car that fits your budget, not your ego. Living below your means, even if you earn a lot. Saving money no one sees. Letting others win the status game while you win the freedom game. And this is where true strength comes from. Not in showing what you have, but in knowing you don't have to show anything. People who are truly wealthy don't need to prove it. They're not trying to win dinner table debates. They're not performing success. They're quietly living on their own terms. As Housel writes, you might think you want $1 million, but what you really want is the ability to stop worrying about money. That's not a status symbol. That's a mindset. And that mindset begins when you stop spending to impress others and start spending in alignment with your values. In the next part, we'll explore why luck and risk play a much bigger role in wealth than most people are comfortable admitting, and how understanding that can protect you from both arrogance and shame. Part 6. Luck, Risk, and the Illusion of Control. Most financial advice assumes that success is logical. If you work hard, plan smart, and make good choices, you'll win. But Morgan Housel introduces a powerful, humbling truth. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems, because luck and risk are both real and they're both powerful. The myth of complete control. You can do everything right and still fail. You can do everything wrong and still win. Because life isn't a spreadsheet. It's chaos wrapped in patterns. That doesn't mean planning is useless. It means certainty is an illusion, and recognizing that makes you wiser, not weaker. The role of luck. Think of Bill Gates. Smart, yes, driven, absolutely, but also born in a wealthy family. Went to one of the only high schools in the world with a computer. Met the right people at the right time. Remove just one of those pieces, and the story changes completely. That's not a criticism of Gates. It's a reminder that success is never purely self-made. There are always invisible variables. Time, place, access, support, timing. Acknowledging luck doesn't diminish your effort. It just adds humility to your narrative. The role of risk. Now flip the coin. You can make smart investments, save diligently, and still get hit with a medical emergency. Lose your job in a recession. Suffer from market crashes or inflation. Bad outcomes don't always mean you made bad decisions. Sometimes they just mean life happened. That's why shaming people for failure is short-sighted, and why judging others based on outcomes alone is dangerous. What this means for you. The real skill is to plan like you're in control, but live like you're not. That means having a margin of safety, not overextending, building flexibility into your finances, avoiding all-or-nothing bets, staying humble in success and resilient in failure. Morgan Housel says it best. Be careful who you praise and admire. Be careful who you look down upon. And be careful when assuming that 100% of outcomes can be attributed to effort and decisions. The antidote: enough. In a world obsessed with more, we often ignore the quiet power of enough. Enough money. Enough security. Enough success to feel safe, not superior. When you recognize how much of life is out of your hands, you stop needing to dominate the game. You start playing it with wisdom, not ego. In the next part, we'll explore one of the most important questions in finance and in life. How do you define enough? And why chasing more is often the very thing that keeps you from peace. Part 7, the power of enough. Why more is not always better. In a world where more is the default goal, more money, more success, more recognition, the psychology of money poses a radical question. Do you know when to stop? Because the truth is, many people don't go broke from having too little. They go broke from never being satisfied with what they already had. The story of Rajat Gupta. Morgan Housel opens one chapter with a cautionary tale. Rajat Gupta, a successful man who came from nothing, rose to become the CEO of McKinsey and Company and sat on the board of Goldman Sachs. He was wealthy, respected, secure. But it wasn't enough. Gupta got involved in insider trading. He wanted to be a billionaire. He wanted more, and he ended up in prison. Same with Bernie Madoff. He had hundreds of millions legally, but he wanted more. So he cheated, lied, and destroyed thousands of lives, including his own. What's the lesson? Enough is not too little. Enough is realizing that more will never satisfy a hunger that comes from fear, pride, or comparison. There's no amount of money that makes you feel truly safe if you're always looking over your shoulder. There's no level of wealth that brings peace if you're always chasing someone else's life. Comparison is the enemy of satisfaction. You might earn well until you compare yourself to someone who earns more. You might feel successful until you see someone younger with more followers. And the cycle never ends. Because no matter how much you gain, there will always be someone ahead. And if you don't know what enough looks like for you, you'll be stuck in permanent dissatisfaction. Define your enough. The solution isn't to give up ambition. It's to give ambition a boundary. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? How much do I really need to feel safe, free, and fulfilled? What am I trading for every extra dollar? Time, peace, health, energy. Once you define your version of enough, you stop playing someone else's game. You start making choices aligned with your values, not social media, not your neighbors, not the imaginary scoreboard in your head. The peace of no. Knowing you're enough gives you the power to say no to burnout, no to status games, no to unnecessary risk, no to trading your soul for short-term validation. It lets you slow down. Enjoy what you have. Protect what you've built. And live life on your own terms. In the next part, we'll tie all these lessons together with 10 timeless principles from the psychology of money, a final blueprint to reshape your financial mindset and emotional relationship with money forever. Part 8, 10 timeless lessons that will reshape your relationship with money. We've explored the psychology. We've dissected the emotions. We've challenged the ego, honored patience, and defined enough. Now let's bring it all together. 10 powerful takeaways from the psychology of money that can change how you earn, save, spend, and live. 1. Wealth is what you don't see. If you can see it, it's probably not wealth, it's spending. True wealth is invisible. Savings, investments, freedom, peace of mind. Don't trade long-term freedom for short-term appearances. 2. Doing well with money is about behavior, not intelligence. You don't need to be a financial genius. You need discipline, humility, long-term thinking, emotional self-control. Money success is 90% mindset, 10% math. 3. Luck and risk shape every outcome. Your wins aren't entirely your doing. Your failures aren't always your fault. Stay humble when you succeed. Stay grounded when you fail. Plan for uncertainty. 4. Compounding is a superpower if you let it work. Wealth grows like a tree, slow, steady, silently. Don't interrupt compounding by jumping in and out of strategies. Give it time, let it breathe, stay consistent. 5. Comparison is the thief of joy and money. Don't measure your progress against someone else's highlight reel. Their goals aren't your goals. Their life isn't your life. Run your own race. 6. Save money, even if you don't have a goal. Saving gives you options. It builds margin. It buys you time, control, and dignity. You don't need a reason to save, just a desire to have flexibility in the future. 7. Enough is the most powerful word in finance. The ability to say, "This is good, I don't need more," is rare. And it's what keeps you safe from overreaching, focused on what matters, free from financial burnout. 8. The most important investment skill is staying in the game. Don't aim to beat the market. Aim to not get knocked out of it. Avoiding catastrophic loss is more important than chasing spectacular gain. Resilience, brilliance. 9. Spend money on what brings you peace. Money is a tool. Use it to buy what matters. Not just things, but experiences, time, simplicity, health, autonomy. Be intentional, not impulsive. 10. No one is thinking about you as much as you think. Let go of the pressure to impress. No one cares what car you drive, what phone you have, or how fancy your vacation is. Care about your own opinion of your life. That's the only one that matters. Final thoughts. The psychology of money doesn't give you a step-by-step budget. It gives you something more valuable, perspective. It shows you how money decisions are really life decisions, rooted in fear, hope, ego, memory, and identity. And if you change how you think, you can change how you act. And that changes everything. You don't need to be perfect with money. You just need to be self-aware, patient, and true to your values. Because at the end of the day, the highest form of wealth is being able to wake up and say, "I can do whatever I want today." Let that be your goal. Let your relationship with money support your life, not steal it from you.